Welcome to another segment of the Glory in the Deep podcast. I'm your host, Qew, here with Qew and Chris TyK, two phenomenal artists in the space of CHH. How y'all doing today?
Good. Waking up.
Good. Very much so waking up.
Yeah, for all y'all folks that don't know, I'm in Ohio, Chris is in Colorado, and Qew is in Vegas. So we're on some real different, time zones here, making it work. So once again, I appreciate y'all for being up early, with me to kind of make this happen. So
No
yeah.
doubt.
So first I just want to give y'all a little space to kind of talk about just kind of who you are, and what you guys are up to.
Oh, Chris, you got this, bro.
All right, I'll go first. Like I said, I'm Chris TyK, uh, Christian hip hop artist. Um, I've only been in Colorado for 2 years. I'm actually from Ohio, where Geo is at. Uh, yeah, I've just been working, man. There's been a lot going on. I started performing again, and so it's just been nonstop. Um, yeah, performing, making more music. I started teaching myself to produce in the last year, so I've been running with that too.
Mm,
Yeah, I've been busy.
a good busy.
Yeah, good busy. It's good busy. But yeah. I mean, I don't know what else. uh,
All good.
yeah, I just been yeah, just staying busy with that. Everything's kind of new right now.
Mm,
Uh, so I just kind of been handling that. Uh, I'll wait to get into some of the other stuff later because some of it's more has more to do with I know some of the topics you wanted to discuss. So I didn't want to like get immediately into that.
yeah, I feel it. All right, cool. What about you, Q?
And me, like you said, I'm Q to the E to the W. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. And I am just trying to be what God wants me to be and go where he wants me to go. And when I write something, have it not sound like it a foot. So like that is the journey I'm on right now personally. Uh yeah, right now everything's pretty decent. Had a little life scrape and now it's like starting to even itself out. Praise God. So
Great.
Amen.
Yeah, definitely. So like, I know you two both have some very like different styles, right? So I guess I would kind of want to talk to you guys about like your musical history and kind of how that's kind of played into, the music you're making now.
All right.
I got to go first on that.
Go
Um
ahead.
yeah, so my musical influences are from a different scene entirely. I actually grew up listening to gospel and stuff like that on the radio, but when I started being able to go to shows and stuff like that, I actually grew up in the punk and hardcore scene in Las Vegas. So I'm more, all my influences kind of come from the Warped Tour world,
Hmm.
like
Okay.
the mosh pits and the that kind of lifestyle and everything like that. Like I grew up on hip hop, yes, but it was very minimal. Only when I
Hmm.
saw like my uncle and we were listening to like West Coast rappers and some of the like East Coast stuff that was going on like when I was a little kid in the 90s babies. Let's go.
Hey.
When
Out here.
when I
We
was a little
outside.
kid, yeah, we sliding, bro. we're out there listening to freaking what's his name, like Tupac. He was like super big when I was little, and like all the West Coast guys that were like owning it at the time, Snoop, For Real, Nate Dogg. I remember one time he pulled up, and I don't remember. I think it was this song, but he pulled up with that "Rolling Down the Street," smoke like that song. He
Yeah.
pulled up with it like in the truck or whatever. But like, and then we went to like a fair or something after that, and I was eating like a churro for no reason. But yeah, that's where my musical influences are mostly from. So I knew rap early on, but I wasn't super exposed to a lot of it because my mom, she kind of kept it to like, oh, you're gonna listen to this like contemporary gospel music, and you're gonna listen to Crystal Lewis and BB and CC Winans. And
Yeah.
I was just like, who are they? They're old. I don't want anything to do with this. And but then I loved it. We were sitting there singing it, and yeah, and so I feel like that really shaped a lot of who I am a little bit differently, because I didn't grow up on the whole CHH thing. I didn't even really know it was a thing until probably like the end of high school, maybe the beginning of high school, because I know Lecrae came out around that time in like the 2000s. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like most of my influences come from the scene though, the hardcore scene. So I have a little bit of a different tend. I used to love Linkin Park growing up. So
You and my wife
that's
could
kind of
talk
where
about
I'm
that for
coming from.
days.
Yeah. It was a time. It was a time to be alive. Anytime somebody ever asks me about that, it's just like, oh, okay, like you grew up on Slipknot, it was in Linkin Park, and I was like, yeah, but God, you feel me?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Guess I go next. So man, my influences. So it's a little different for me. So I very much grew up in hip hop culture very heavily. Like all of it. Like I mean, like not just like rap, like the culture, like dance battles, graffiti, uh, freestyle sessions, battles. Like I grew up in that. Uh, didn't have really any like gospel influences or anything. I was like in and out of church, but not like really in church. Like I just remember going to multiple different churches when I was younger. Um, Parents didn't really play gospel music or anything. They played a lot of just like old school stuff, Luther Vandross and Marvin Gaye and just like Whitney Houston, but whatever's coming on, those radio stations, that and just like old school hip hop, a lot of '90s, a lot of 2000s. 2000s hip hop's really special for me. That was like what I grew up with. Um, and then I didn't know about Christian hip hop till like it was super recent for me. It was like after I met G. It was like
Yo,
like I had heard of Lecrae, but like I thought he was like, no pun intended, an anomaly. Like I thought it was just him. Like, okay, this is the only dude on the entire planet doing it. And then so like when I got saved and I decided I was gonna make Christian rap, I thought, okay, I'm gonna be like the third or fourth person to do it. And imagine my surprise. I'm like, oh, there's like a whole culture. There's like hundreds of people doing this, like thousands. Uh, so yeah, my influence from Christian hip hop and gospel is very small. I don't know a lot of the older stuff, to be honest. Like when people start talking about like cross movement and grits and all that stuff, and the gospel samples, I don't be recognizing none of it, to be honest. Be 100% honest, I don't recognize none of it. It's completely new to me. I had to like go back and look. I'm like, oh, he sampled this song. And I'm like, I don't know that song. I was like, I barely knew who Kirk Franklin was. But like I'd
Yo.
heard of him. I didn't really listen to him. Like I'd heard of him.
Yeah.
Like I heard some of those names, Mary or whatever. But um, yeah, that's kind of what I grew up with, and I think I didn't even get more genres like into my like listening rotation until I was a lot older. Um, like maybe like 1920 was around the time where I started listening to everything. It's like today I listen to pretty much everything except country.
Same.
Country is the one thing I can't do. But like up until like around that age, I was a straight purist. Like I was like the most purest definition of a purist. Like all I listened to was hip hop. All I listened to was hip hop and R&B. I didn't listen to anything else. Um, but now I listen to everything except for country. Sorry, country people, I can't do it.
Bro, have you heard Dan and Shay though? Like Dan and Shay is the official, bro. I don't know what to tell
Is
Yeah, they got that one song. What's it called? From the
that
ground
country?
up.
Yeah, man, they're out here. They're out
Yeah,
here with the
I
slang and
give it a
everything. They're
try.
pretty good.
I I gotta at least say I tried. Right, I'll listen.
I gotta give you a couple of songs to listen to because I was like, I used to think the same way, and then I was just all like, look, these guys are all right.
I give it a few spins. I'll give it a few spins.
That's
Let's go.
that's funny. That's like when I grew up in the city, right? So I moved to the suburbs like right when I was starting high school, and like you, Chris, I was like a purist. I ain't know nothing about no rock, no hard rock, no country, nothing. It was to the point where I was like, do they even make like rock music anymore? Because I never heard it. And so then I got out to the suburbs, and that's what they're listening to. I said, what is this? I'm a little scared.
Green Day.
Green Day and Paramore. That's kind of like was kind of like got my feet wet a little bit. I was like, I like this. It's all right, And then next thing you know,
Yeah.
I'm listening to stuff like Disturbed and 3 Days Grace, and all those bands and
Hey
stuff.
yo.
But yeah,
Yeah, I mess with all of it now. Like it's funny.
Mhm. Yeah, like you though. I'm still not on the country craze quite yet, but
I'm
Yeah,
telling
ain't been
y'all.
converted.
I'm telling y'all. There's a couple
Ain't
of
been
them. There's a
converted.
couple artists.
I'll have to. You have to send over some recommendations then, because
Yeah, you have to send those in the chat.
yeah, I'm curious on those.
Sure.
But
I spent time in the country and it still didn't catch for me. I was like this.
He said I was there, bro.
I spent a whole
Yo,
summer in Wyoming, bro.
Wyoming.
Yes, you know all about that.
Oh yeah, you were out there. I forgot about that.
Bro, how could you forget that?
My memory is bad, bro.
That was a time in my life. Literal time. That was probably around the time God started working on me.
Mm,
let's go.
that's perfect place for you then.
I don't know
Uh,
if it was the perfect place, but it was necessary.
yeah, I feel
it
it.
was it was necessary.
That cool. So, Chris, I know you mentioned something about like different like genres and stuff like that. So that kind of leads into like subgenres, and kind of how that fits into Christian hip hop specifically,
Yeah.
and that's something I'm not super educated on. I'm still kind of learning what's out there. So I don't know if you guys have any insight you would want to share on some of the subgenres in CHH and kind of how it all kind of fits into the space.
Oh man,
Mm.
I could go off on this. Uh,
Tell him, Chris.
so so for those who don't know, if you're watching, subgenre is basically just an extension of the main branch, right? So it's kind of like just like you have rock, you got classic rock, you got heavy metal, um, and so on and so forth. Hip hop's no different. You got melodic rap, you got conscious or backpack rap. Um, and so on and so forth. Even pop rap, which is probably the most prevalent, even in CHH. Um, so with CHH, I think we're just kind of getting into the subgenre thing. At first, it was a lot of um, like a lot of people talk about CHH having its own sound, and I think like when I listen to some of the earlier stuff, I think it actually had more of a sound back then. It's just that it wasn't good. Um, like I don't think a lot of people loved it. You know, that's why you say like, oh, like see, Christian rap is corny, blah blah blah. And it was like, well,
That's a hot
it's like
take.
everyone.
That's a hot take.
I mean, I'm gonna say it. It's just like it's like there was good things about it, but it's like when it tried to be its own sound, which I think is kind of ridiculous because like it's still hip hop. Like what makes it Christian
Yeah.
isn't the sound, it's what we're talking about. It's what we're presenting. So it's like, when people are upset, they're like, oh, like this kind of like sounds like this. So it's like, well, it's because it's still hip hop, and it's just different. It's different subject matter, and like if you want it to have its own sound, like it has to be natural. And I think we're actually great examples of that, to where it's like we're not really trying to give it its own sound. We're simply just not trying to sound like the mainstream, and that naturally creates its own sound. Um, and for me, I decided for some reason to exist in a really weird place that's not helpful for my career, where um, you know, being a Christian artist already puts you in a small pool sometimes. And then I'm a huge anime fan, so I make a lot of Christian hip hop infused anime songs, further
You about to
sub
get me started,
genring
bro.
myself.
You
And
about to
like,
get me started now, because now we're in the same boat.
bro, I already know. I was like, I remember when I found some of your music, and I was like, oh, there's a couple other people doing it, and
Hmm.
like there's still not many. Like off the top of my head, it would be like us, and then like two other dudes who are not a part of CHH, are about like the only other ones that I know that like do it consistently. Those other two artists are part of a subgenre called nerdcore, um, which is literally just anime rap mostly, just nerd culture. Sometimes they do comic book songs, but mostly anime. And yeah, that's kind of a space where I think we both live quite a bit, and I've been living in it even more so because like even though it seems counterproductive career wise, I found that it was fruitful for me. My first song to hit over 1,000 on Spotify was a Christian rap nerdcore song. My next song to hit it was like also another Christian rap nerdcore song. I was like, okay, so somebody likes it, so I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
I feel that. Well, like subgenre, you explained it pretty well. Um, I live in a subject, like for a lot of people that don't know, some people know this, but like I was in a band for a really, really long time called the Marionette, and we existed in the subculture of post-hardcore music, which is basically it all flies under the flag metal, um, and it just fits in there with like punk and actual hardcore music, and post-hardcore is just kind of like it takes a lot of punk sounds and a lot of pop sounds, and they just kind of blend it, and like you put that together. But that's where I come from, the scene where I'm from. So I've been living in it for literally for literally most of my life. So it wasn't really nothing to come over to Christian hip hop and still be kind of out of place in the mainstream. um I think just coming over and having the whole anime aesthetic, because there are quite a few dudes besides us that did it. Um, one, like I've actually been graced with um, developing these friendships with some of these dudes, and it's been awesome. Getting it off the top of the dome. Nix, he actually started really. He spells his name like in explanation point X, and he actually started out doing a lot of heavy like anime eccentric stuff. Um, Not Clyde. He's a person on the bigger end of the spectrum that he has that whole aesthetic and he does it pretty well. And you know, there are a couple of others, but um, yeah, like I remember I remember finding a bunch of music on SoundCloud is when I first really kind of understood that wow, like CHH has like a whole subgenre of newer artists that are not necessarily trying to sound like that cookie cutter kind of stereotype, I guess, that was going on in the 2000s or the 2010s. Um, and so like I lived there, like that's where I found. Well, Aha Gazelle was one of them. Like I started listening to Aha Gazelle, and he was pretty heavy with those themes as well back then. He had this song called Vegeta. And I
Oh
think
Just
yeah,
I
listening to
was
that
like,
yesterday.
yo, this is
I think I found him
crazy.
because of that
This
song.
is nuts. Yeah, man. He's bonkers. He is bonkers. But and that's kind of how I started finding everybody else. And I'm gonna Dizzy Yates actually really, really influenced me. Everybody's always talking like, "Oh, Q, you're doing the whole Pokemon aesthetic thing." Nope, Dizzy Yates did it first. He actually he was like the first time where I saw that you could do something like that. Him and No Big Deal. Him and No Big Deal. I saw you could do something like that and actually have it work as long as it had like structure and as long as you got the word in it, man. You got the gospel. As long as it is those elements are there, theme that you use that's appropriate doesn't really matter too much, but it definitely does kind of put you in this little box. And I've like since I've been releasing music for the last couple of years, seriously, I've noticed that like I've had to kind of either embrace what it is that we do, me and Chris in particular, or try to be the difference. And I try to not put myself in that box, but also relate to all those people because most of those people that I grew up with in my old scene are really into like hip hop and anime now. So a lot of those people have started listening, and that's where I found an audience. I actually am into something called tokusatsu. Everybody knows it as like either Power Rangers or or the Beetleborgs here or whatever. And that's what I grew up on. And my first song to actually hit 20K was Common. One of those reasons is because of Mike Teasy, but but another one is the fact that like, oh hey, he's talking about the armor of God. What is a common? What is it like? I was talking about Common Rider and like how he changes and armors up and all that stuff. So I just kind of used that aesthetic and people rocked with it. And yeah, I think I think that and then a song called Catch 'em that I did is like the first time I got supported by like Rapzilla. And yeah, shouts out to OB on beat because him and Cannon were the ones to actually find like give me a chance because nobody was really listening up until that point. I had my little like group of people, but as soon as Cannon co-signed and OB, I think I won Song of the Night for the first time on the Critique Friday show, and yeah, that's where I'm sitting. So I found a
Yes, sir.
comfortable place inside of our niche. I found a comfortable place, and I'm just kind of working with that and trying to market towards those kids.
Sweet, sweet. Yeah, so like one of the things I've often wondered, right, is kind of like the writing process. When you look at anime inspired CHH, And so like I've always wondered like how you guys are able to. I'm like it's definitely a talent and a skill, but like I've often wondered just like how do you connect those two? Like I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on just like your thought processes, your writing processes, and how you come up with those themes, those songs, those lyrics.
Mm,
I think as naturally as possible.
yeah.
Like I try to like when I try to write like when writing Christian hip hop, I always think of it like if I'm ever struggling to write, then I need to read more. I need to read my Bible more. I need to like it needs to permeate my life so it's just natural. The same way that anime does. Anime pretty much permeates my life. Like I watch so much anime and I can like take so many things from it, and a lot of the themes. A lot of people don't know like there's some really amazing themes in anime that oftentimes you can find parallels with the Bible
Hmm.
um, or certain biblical themes, and I think it just kind of for me anyway, it just kind of comes natural, and and then like once I get an idea, I just I try to meld it in a way that that it shows both. It's something I'm still trying to figure out because it's still semi new for me. The first time I ever did it, I was pretty heavy on the Demon Slayer. So the first time I did it was water breathing, and then I did sun breathing. Uh, and sun breathing worked out really natural since I was able to, use the word sun as a double entendre. Um, and so that just came really naturally for me. And yeah, it's just like once you get it, it's just figuring out how to mix the two um, and try to make it like a biblical theme or a lesson or something that affects your life in a way. Um, like I think the last one I did would have been GG with Mitch Durrell. That's really happy he got on that. That was actually the first. That's the only CHH feature I've actually ever done at
Hmm.
this point. Um, but that one I went with the theme of victory. So that's how that kind of worked out. But yeah, just find a way to mix the two worlds.
Okay.
For me, it was like it was definitely a little bit more natural to go that route too. But I've had a lot of practice, like because I was in my band for such a long time. I was able to kind of like I already kind of came over with the practiced skill of like songwriting and being able to incorporate different things. And I didn't even really find this niche until what was the song that I wrote? I wrote a song called Die Guard. And I don't know, like if for most of the anime heads out there, like and for Chris, you probably remember Die Guard, like it was just like a random show that they showed
I'm
like
not
it's big
familiar
in
with that
Japan.
one.
It's like a big mecha show and
Okay.
they in Japan it's like super popular, but over here they ran it on like Toonami. And I just remember seeing that in Evangelion for the first time and going, huh, that's insane. That is crazy. And for whatever reason, I ventured into most of the anime watching in my 20s. So I, obviously I grew up with it because it was really, really popular when we were kids, I guess, like especially for me, because I grew up in the 90s and the 2000s. So um that was when it like exploded because of Dragon Ball Z
Hmm.
and Sailor Moon and all that stuff. So when I finally saw stuff that was on the more serious side of anime, I was like, whoa, okay, what is this? And I wrote a song called Die Guard. And this is after like me being in a relationship, being married, and I was just all like, yo, hey, I'm gonna write this song about magical robots or whatever and have it be about the crew. And and like and then it just kind of grew from there. But I had already had experience kind of adding subject matter into my writing like that. But I would say when I heard Dizzy Yates, and Dizzy Yates had a record or an EP where it was something called Pallet Town or something like that,
Hmm.
where he just like he went in, but he had all these Pokemon themes. So I was just all like, "What? I'm rocking with this." Because I was a Pokemon kid. Like I had the games.
Same.
I
Absolutely.
I, I actually won when Kids WB did a contest. I actually won a Game Boy Advanced uh like little handheld thing with what was it, Pokemon Crystal.
Hmm.
And oh man, I played the mess out of those games, bro. But
Go to
but
game.
but yeah, so it was the first time I heard that incorporated, and then I heard Solar by No Big Deal, and I was like, hey, you can do this. Like it's
Oh
actually
yeah.
Yeah.
you're able to do it, and you're able to do it tastefully. So so like I guess, and what's funny is I didn't even really aim to be one of the anime guys when I first started. Like I didn't like, because I didn't even like Chris, I didn't know it was a thing. Like I didn't
Yeah.
know there's like too many people doing it, and then I saw that there were people doing it, and I was just like, okay, cool. But I did not expect that the first song that got highlighted was going to be an anime song, and then I was going to be deemed like one of the anime people. Oh, that's cute. And then I have this tag that just goes like Nani, and like everybody's like, ah, he's the anime guy. Like he's the guy. I'm not the guy. Like there's literally other people.
Yeah.
Hey, take it,
Like
take it.
man, I was flattered, but it's just kind of like it's the same thing as like being a Christian hip hop artist from Vegas, bro. Like there aren't too many of us, but I know that there are some. Like, and
Mhm.
I feel like for some reason I'm making them mad or whatever when people are all like, "Yeah, there's nobody out there in Vegas doing." It. I was like, I don't know. I don't know everybody.
Yeah.
So I know that there's been people from here, but that's about the extent of it. But yeah, um, writing with that subject matter is like not necessarily new, but I try to more so use themes of what the anime, like the aesthetic of it, um, more than possibly stuff that you would hear in the anime. Like I try to use familiarity with like some of the imagery and relate that to my personal journey. Like all my Pokemon stuff is pretty much like a saga. I have Inside here 1, 2, and 3, and a mixtape that's about to come out, and it's all kind of like life stuff. But me personally, like it's like from your point of view, it's me as a trainer going through my life and battles and all this stuff
Hmm.
in that stuff. So that's kind of how I approach it. Like I'll catch like an anime bar every now and then, but outside of just using kind of like the aesthetic and themes, that's kind of where I said I write kind of normal-ish songs, but with a flair of anime to it or tokusatsu.
Hmm. Okay. So like I feel like with like anime inspired CHH, right? There's like an appeal to so many different crowds, right? So like on one hand you would have like people who don't necessarily believe in Jesus or Christians or anything like that that will listen to your music and be like, yeah, I like this. It's like there's anime themes, anime lyrics, you know. And then on the other hand, there's the Christian crowd who's like, yes, it's still CHH, right? So I
Yeah.
guess like, have you guys noticed a better response from like the secular crowd responding to like the anime or like the CHH crowd responding to
We're not
the,
we're
you
not going
know,
to talk about the people who are all like, man, those guys are totally demonic. Like
yeah,
we're not
they
going to
do
talk about those
exist.
guys.
I ain't really been hit with that yet, and maybe
Bro,
that's
it's
because
coming. It's
like
coming.
I'm only just now getting my foot in there.
Yeah.
Like I've had a couple Rapzilla posts now, and I think like there's like a handful of people that might like know who I am now. If they didn't know before, they certainly know after the Mitch Jarrell feature. I think a lot of people just like found me after that. But yeah, I haven't been hit with that yet. I'm sure it's
Bro,
coming, like you said. It's coming,
it's
but I ain't been
something
hit
deep.
with it.
It's something deep, bro. Like, and I'm not even gonna go on a tangent, but people usually take stuff like this is something you probably hear a lot, but like people tend to be afraid of stuff and try to distance themselves from it or call it demonic because they don't understand it.
Yep.
No.
And like Chris was saying, there's actually a whole lot of really awesome themes inside of anime outside of the weird stuff that people happen to fall upon. Um, and it's funny like it's always funny to me because you can kind of tell the people who have been tainted by like the X-rated stuff that you would find in the whole
Yes.
in the section of anime that we don't go in.
Mhm.
Like I was just like, dude, I could tell like somebody you hurt yourself, you hurt your spirit by watching that, didn't you? Like, and now you want to call Pokemon like demonic because you saw something that you shouldn't have been watching, and that's on you. But I feel like for me, because of the crowd that I usually get and the one that I target in particular, because of the familiarity and where God called me, the quote unquote emo crowd or rocker crowd or whatever, because it's kind of synonymous now with that. I feel like I get a lot of those people. Um, but as far as people inside of the walls of Christian music, now I think because anime is such a mainstay, yeah,
Mhm.
there's definitely people coming around to it, and like a lot of
Oh
people,
yeah.
different people watch it, so it's starting to be kind of a thing. But yeah, like I said, you still got that crowd of people that are just all like, "Yeah, you're the devil."
I saw that dude commented on your the hyperbolic time chamber picture you had.
Bro,
It was like saying it was demonic. I was like, you don't even know what it is.
I had to block dude, bro. I had to block dude because he was basically trying to push the narrative that I didn't know that I was putting like a Buddhist temple in my artwork. And so I design all my artwork. So anything that people see for the most part, like I've either drawn by hand or like done graphic design for years. So like I just put
Mhm.
my stuff together. And the hyperbolic time chamber in Dragon Ball Z is just a place to train and get like really strong really fast. And it's kind of based off of like an Arabic train station. And
Yeah.
he saw the imagery, and for some reason in his head it clicked as like, it's a Buddhist temple. What are you doing? He was like, I can share this, but I'm not gonna because you're serving people devils. Like I was like, what's the matter
Look,
with
that's a
you?
reach, bro. I
He went far. It was such a, I had to
was like,
block
it's
bro because I tried to talk to him and like actually like hear him out, and he had some cool stuff to say, some positive stuff, some enriching stuff, which I think that I could learn from, but it like immediately got halted because he was trying to dismiss the process as if I don't think. I put a lot of thought into artwork, a lot of thought into the music and how I approach everything. So it was just kind of like I wasn't offended, but I was just like, yo, I'm kind of not with the whole getting pushed around in this
Yeah.
genre thing. I come from the hardcore scene, so if you have hands, you can come and talk to me. Like I guess we can pray beforehand. We can pray
Uh-huh.
beforehand,
Pray then
and
box
then
it out.
after, like that, like that mountain lion. You got to stare
Yeah.
the mountain.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, we were talking about mountain lions before we actually started recording. So yeah, it's kind of where that comes in.
I'm
But
glad you haven't experienced that yet, Chris. But like I said, it is coming, bro.
I'll believe it. It's part of it that probably helps me is like what's weird also for me being a CHH is I've yet to perform in a church. Like I think I think most other Christian artists at least have done it once, maybe. I haven't done it at all. I haven't done an event. Um, all of my performances have been in secular venues, which is its own kind of weird battle because they're kind
Yeah.
of rocking with it at first. I did a song at an open mic last week. I have like this it's kind of a Christian drill song almost called Savage, and like they're rocking with it at first, and then I get to the second verse and they hear Jesus, and it's like.
Somebody say
Like
Jesus.
okay, I'm still kind of rocking with it, but I don't know about that whole Jesus thing.
hold
Like,
on, what's going on here?
They were holding their drink in the air as soon as you said Jesus. They said, oh, oh, oh,
oh, wait a minute.
oh.
so, so like that's more what I deal with is like once they realize it's a Christian theme, then they get a little more shocked. They'll get shocked by the anime side too because, like, man, it's really like I'm not knocking it because it's like when it's good, right? Like it's like when it's like you know for people who still listen to secular music, I know there's people that don't, but it's like there's like certain things where it's like you're listening to, and it's like kind of a lot of the same stuff, but it's like it's the highest quality version of that same stuff. Whereas like when you're in the indie scene and you're listening to all these other indie artists, it's just a much lower quality version of the same stuff. So it's like everyone that goes up there before me, it's drugs, money, bees. It's just like it's not even a good version of it.
Garden
It's just like
tools,
it's
garden tools,
exhausting.
garden tools,
The
garden
garden
tools, garden
tools, man.
tools.
Yes. And it's just like, and then you get up there with the anime and Christian theme. That's like, whoa. So it's like I'm more used to dealing with that than I am used to dealing with pushback from Christians. I haven't really dealt with any pushback from Christians. So I guess I'll count that as a blessing for now.
Praise God, man.
But
I
yeah,
think it just happens the more you like get into the market. Like
for
it's
sure.
just bound to happen because people have their own opinions about everything that and some folks tend to try and skew it towards the word, but it's not. I don't know. It's very it's weird. It's like they use their convictions. Like I said before, they probably saw something they shouldn't have saw, and they want to put it on everything else because they're all like, "Oh, I gotta stay as far away from that as possible. What's everybody doing watching this? Kids are watching this. They're not watching what you watch, bro. They're not.
No.
Like you gotta repent and wash your brain and renew your mind with the word because like they did not see what you saw on Kids WB, bro. Like it's not going
At
down
10
like that.
o'clock in the morning on a Saturday.
They got a tentacled monster coming out. Like I'm playing. I'm gonna stop. But yeah, man. So it's just the thing. It's just I feel like it happens outside of this too, of course, because I feel like people kind of try to push their convictions on other people instead of dealing with them.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
And it's our responsibility to renew our minds daily. You feel me? So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
push it back in that right direction. Let them know like, no, like, at the very least, like this is where I'm coming from. And it's like if people would just ask too, and it's like, here is where in the Bible I got this from, and here's how it relates
Mm-hmm.
to this theme, you know, and they can
Yep.
they can get a much better understanding. Because the thing with anime is like a lot of people try to think of it as a different genre too, and it's just like it's really not. It's no different than like it's just a different medium because there's comedy anime, there's action, there's what we call slice of life, which is basically like lifetime stories. There's crime, there's like CSI, like it's really just the same thing. It's just I think having it animated allows for the story to be told a little differently, which is kind of like what we do with our music. It allows the story to be told a little differently.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, just kind of circling back on what you were saying about like pushing your convictions on people, I feel like that's where we get so much disconnect and discord and just conflict, is really
Hmm.
just people looking at their convictions as law, or
Yeah,
looking at, or like because they have a weakness in one area that this should just be applied to everyone else, and
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, I feel like if people
there are
were
some
to,
common sense things that like obviously you shouldn't do, like,
yeah,
but like, but genuinely, I feel like harkening back to what I said the first time we started talking, like I feel like people just have a tendency to be afraid of what they don't understand, and because anime is a different culture completely, um, they 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 don't understand it. They're just like, ah, I don't, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I think we have a tendency to do that also as a people, as a Black community.
Mm.
Um,
Yes.
but
hmm
oddly enough, it's funny how like I feel like Black culture kind of embraced it a little bit more.
yeah,
It's more or less the gospel side of it, where if you're a churchgoer, like what are you doing?
hmm
Um, but yeah, it's I don't think it's healthy to put your convictions as law on somebody else. Like I said, there's things that you obviously should not do. Like you probably shouldn't go out and get wasted and like
yeah,
and do all that stuff. Because we're supposed to be of sober mind and be very aware of how the spirit moves and what God is telling us to do, and it's hard to do that when you're inebriated.
absolutely. Yeah, it kind of
So
reminds me of what's his name when G. Craig Lewis did those Truth About Hip Hop videos. Like I don't know if you guys are familiar with that at all, but it was huge in the Black
No.
community and the Black church. Like it was a problem, bro. And I look at that as one of the reasons why, like, I feel like Black churches in particular have been so resistant to CHH. Was like kind of started back when that series was going around, where he's basically saying like everything about hip hop is demonic, whether that be you know, the sound frequencies, the beats, it hypnotizes you so demons can come in, all this different type of stuff.
Wild.
And I'm like, bro, if you
that's
don't
some arch villain type.
listen, he traveled around churches and gave like sermons on that and put out DVD series to the point where I was like, like when I first listened to it, I was still really young. So I'm like, bro, I can't listen to rap no more. I don't want no demon inside of me listening to Ice Cube, that type of stuff. And I'm like, bro, if you don't like hip hop, just say that. Like you're pushing
Yeah,
your convictions on a whole population, and it was really damaging, honestly. To
Yeah.
it's such a really weird fine line too, because I do believe that things have influence.
absolutely.
Like if you, I mean, like we're a product of that. We're a product of growing up. Just harkening back to the act, like the conversation that we were having before. Like we're a product of growing up on anime. Like
Mhm.
it's just a part of who we are, and that had influence on us because we were watching it. We were living it. We were one to, we were watching that story. We were watching those stories like Naruto and trying to be like a ninja or whatever it
Yeah.
was. So like
Still
we
want
had a
that to be
very
my
vested
career.
exactly
I want
ninja,
to be a
the
Super Saiyan
occupation
to this
ninja.
day.
But yeah, so I feel like stuff can have an influence, um, and I feel like music is a really strong one. Um, but that's why I feel like there needs to be more Christian culture at the head of that, because we were the most creative people
Hmm
throughout history, and
Yeah.
because music has such a big influence and such a big draw, I feel like that's such a really tangible tool to use to bring people to the throne, you know, to introduce people to Jesus and tell them like, hey, not everybody is from the same walk of life, but we we have a lot of the same issues, and we can uh solve a lot of problems just through the gospel, you know. But a lot of
Mhm.
people won't listen because it's not palatable to them, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I kind of went off on a tangent, but like,
You good?
You good.
but for what you were saying, yeah, it's just, you know, influence is definitely great on that. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to add to
uh,
that too. I think what people struggle with is like, you know, there are things, like, the Bible will say like this is permissible, but it may not be useful. And I think people struggle with living in their freedom and like how that intersects with their personal conviction. It's like, well, you can do this, but it's like, I know if I did this thing or if I listened or watched this, like it would be detrimental for me. So you shouldn't do it at all. Like you should not be touching it. It's like, is that a glass of wine? Like you must be drunk. And it's like that might be for you.
Yeah.
Like you have a problem, so you probably should not touch it at all. But I think that's where it comes from, where people like, really hammer us. Like same thing with hip hop. It's just like, well, if you got the Cardi B's and the Sexy Reds, it's like, that must permeate all of hip hop. And like, so that's just gonna drag you down if you're making hip hop music. So it must all be demonic. And it's just like, no, it's
Hmm.
not how
nope.
that works.
Yeah.
Like at
I,
all.
I choose I choose to not talk about what Sexy Red talks about for sure. Like that is not a part of
I
my
I
journey.
I think most people do, even in secular hip hop. I don't
Yeah.
think that's very common to that level.
That's a bad that's like bad. Like I don't know if she realizes how bad that is. If like the people on
She
your
doesn't.
side of the fence, like she really doesn't, because I'm just all like, bro, if they're not supporting you, what is up, bro? You need to
Right.
reevaluate this.
You know it's bad.
We all know it's that color. You don't need to say it. Like
Oh
we
man.
all know,
We didn't
bro.
need the visual.
We did not need a song about it. This
Yeah, I
is
first heard the
ridiculous.
lyrics. I said, "Oh, I gotta turn this off. What is going on?" I said, "This is a popular."
Man, that's the other crazy part. It's like
Low
who's
key, I'm
listening?
scrolling through. I'm low key scrolling through freaking TikTok in the kitchen, like just sitting at the dining table. My aunt walks in and that song comes on. I'm like, oh no, 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 no. And she's a mother in the Baptist church, bro. She said,
Oh
huh?
man.
She said, huh? I said, no, 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 no. Not me. Not me.
Bro, that's why I'm constantly trying to adjust my algorithm just to like, because like I'm a bit of a doom scroller. It's a problem. Like when you're an indie artist
Yeah.
and you're running everything yourself, like sometimes it's like, all right, it starts out at work for like 10 minutes, and then like
Mhm.
after 15 minutes, like and now I'm just scrolling and I'm not accomplishing anything, and stuff just pops up. So it's like I'm constantly trying to feed that algorithm. I'm like, all right, comedy, science, Jesus,
Yep.
food. Like let me get all clean stuff and some scripture in there, so I don't get
Mhm.
nothing crazy. Because
Exactly.
man, that creeps up on you. It happened to me once at church. Actually, I
Hey
was like,
yo.
I was running sound. I was running sound. I was sitting in the sound booth, right? We was waiting for like the band to like mic up or whatever. They was getting set, tuning guitars. So I'm scrolling on Facebook, and my stupid self, I click on this video, and like this dude, he was like, I don't know, he's like playing with some like sort of toy or whatever. He's like, "Ha, this sound is funny," and I was like, I click on the video, and it's just this loud, enormous porn sound, and my volume was all the way up. I had
Wow.
never tucked my phone in my thigh so fast.
No.
I don't think
No.
anybody heard it because nobody said anything to me. But in my
Mhm.
mind, I'm just thinking,
Bro.
they're like, we need to go talk to brother Chris. And I'm sitting here thinking they're concerned about me. I was like, I was like, I promise I was not watching anything in church. I was just scrolling Facebook and someone had one of those stupid joke videos.
Oh
Thankfully,
man.
those
You're
aren't
all like,
popular
I'll show
anymore.
you the
Yeah.
video. And they're all like, no, you don't have to show us the video, sir.
Like, no, you don't got to do that.
Mhm. Yeah, I got caught with one of those. It was one of those like I think it was like a cheetah or something like that. So that
Oh,
said
listen
like
to how this cheetah sounds.
yeah, exactly. And it got me. I don't remember where I was, but I said, "Oh my goodness, y'all about to
It
get
was
me
like, I can't
fired."
stand y'all. Y'all are the worst.
Bro, I've never experienced that exactly other than the sexy red thing. Like I always have the weird sounding animal, like not in that way, but like funny
Yeah.
sounding animals in my feed, like the lion that came walking out, that meme where he was all like the way light skinned brothers walk out talking about some
Yeah.
and the lion's like roaring. He's like,
Yeah.
how?
Oh, man.
Said, what is this, bro? Crazy.
See, that's fine though. You can, that's just
Mhm.
that's just someone singing real light skinned in the mic. It's not too detrimental. Maybe like that first note, but
No, like the closest I've probably gotten to that was probably like random Family Guy quotes that like were just playing super loud, and it was very, very inappropriate. And just like it's like that's not my normal feed. Jesus, 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 Jesus.
that's why I just like it. Like sometimes I don't even watch the video or look at the post. I'm like, oh, they're talking about scripture. Like just to feed the algorithm.
just to
Yeah.
feed the algorithm, bro. Just to support, bro. Like I'll be liking CHH artists that have no business doing it. Like I'm gonna be real. Look, I'm gonna be real. This is a field where it's like I feel like if you're not really called to it, you really need to evaluate what's going on. And so like a lot of those people, and because people like submit for the Respect the Bops playlist that I run on Spotify, like I get a lot of that because people have sent me stuff over TikTok as well. But now I'll have it in my feed to where it's just like this person who clearly didn't pray before they embarked on this adventure.
Man.
And I'm just like, let me like
They
it
just hopped on
because
in.
it's just gonna, man, I will listen to this 100 times before I listen to that Sexy Red. Bro.
You don't even need lyrics, So I listen to a lot of lo-fi, sometimes I just don't want to hear any words,
Exactly. Sometimes you just want to hear the music play. We went off the rails.
A little bit.
If you want to put us back in order here, man.
Oh, good.
want to reel it in.
I mean, yeah, not really because we having fun, But yeah, what? So like, I guess one of the other questions that I had was kind of just like, what other artists you guys really enjoy, you know? Even just outside of like the niche space, just kind of like where you guys are at right now with like your musical taste and all that.
Ooh. Do you want to go first, Chris?
Sure, I'll go first. So, I've been listening to a lot of punk, pop punk recently. Yeah. like I've been listening to a lot. Like I just found an indie band. I don't remember their name, but I was like, oh man, this has like 2007 MTV written all over it. Like this is beautiful. I've been listening to a lot of that. I've been trying to find more CHH artists. I feel like every time I find a new artist I really like, I was like, okay, this is different. I'm getting away from like the mainstays. Then all of a sudden they're getting signed by Reach or something. I'm like, all right, well, now it's not different no more. But yeah, there's a lot of different artists been listening. I've been listening to a little bit of everything. Of course, I've been listening to the new Indie Tribe. I like what Mowgli's doing with the hyper rock. I love that sound. I hope that like 10 more people pop up with that sound because it's almost like a Christian version of pop punk kind of. with like a little bit of rap in there. Um,
Oh
but
man,
yeah, I just been
we gotta talk more.
all that.
We gotta talk more.
You got some suggestions for me?
I'll help you out. I'll help you out.
Bet.
I'll let you know this. I'll let you know this. Like there are definitely way more than 10 artists that are doing the exact same thing. It's just
Oh man,
he has more of a platform, and I think that he
for
does it
sure.
with excellence. Like not that they don't, but I feel like he does it a
Yeah,
certain way where it's more presentable to
just not in
people.
the forefront yet.
Oh yeah, no, but what he's doing is awesome for sure.
Yeah, I definitely need more of that in my life. I've been listening to that sound a lot. I've been listening to more nerdcore rappers. One I just found, another Christian artist, who went more to the nerdcore side. I think E-Roll Allen is his name. Really dope dude. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what I've been on.
Me, I have made a habit out of listening to my own playlist. Here's a shameless plug. Respect the Bops on Spotify. Uh, it's Respect the Bops with a Z. It initially started out as my own playlist, and then when I was praying one day about how to actually give back to the community because I felt like I wasn't really giving anything outside of music, I started highlighting bands, or not bands, but like rappers, artists, and that's what I got from that prayer. And Jesus was just all like, "Yeah, move forward and highlight other people." You know, you like you spend so much time trying to highlight yourself,
Yeah.
so it's just kind of like, hey, highlight other people, highlight the people that are supporting you, and be obedient to that. And it just kind of grew and grew, and and now it's like one of the only playlists that I really listen to because it has so many different flavors of what I like. But I say I grew up the majority of my life listening to pop punk and metal and stuff like that. So I kind of got burnt out too because I was in a band.
Yeah.
So like I already know like, and I actually grew up on a lot of Christian pop punk and hardcore. So that's why I said, Chris, I got some suggestions for you
I
because
need that.
it's been here. There was a whole generation of us that grew up on bands like Reliant K and POD and
Is Reliant K Christian?
Reliant K is Christian, man.
I did not know that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my wife put me on.
It's
All right, I'm gonna have to
crazy.
revisit Reliant K. 'Cause I have like one song of theirs in my playlist.
There was a whole lot that like they influenced probably a lot of the people that are doing it now, which is hilarious because I used to listen to Reliant K when I was a kid. So like it was just they're old, but like they're they've been around, but yeah, that's what I kind of grew up on. So I'll still listen to like heavier music. I listened to a band called Woe Is Me, and they just kind of like came back. Um, I right now though, I'm kind of really all I listen to honestly is just CHH. Like I listen to other things, but
Yeah.
I say
Yeah,
like the prominent thing would be CHH because of the playlist and because of the nature of what we do. I just kind of immerse myself in it. And yeah, it's not like the only edification that I have, but it was kind of easy to replace a lot of the people that I did listen to. But I'm not the type of person who's like out here like, oh, I'm not gonna listen to Drake.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I'm not, but like at the same time,
But it's not like I
yeah.
get what you're saying.
I'm just not that type of person. Like if you can listen to that and you're not getting swayed in any way, like I like, hey, listen to the edited version, bro.
That's pretty
God's
much where I
plan.
sit with it.
God's
Cause
plan,
I listen to
bro.
Mhm.
like I'm listening to a lot of CHH too, and like
Yeah.
I think where I'm sitting at is mostly on mood. Cause like I listen to music on a very emotional basis. Like it doesn't matter
Mhm.
how much I like that artist or that song or how good it is. I have to be in like whatever mood set I'm in to listen to it. And I like a lot of mellow music, and a lot of what I was listening to at first was on the sadder end, even from CHH artists. And so I'm at this place where I want to find more like happy mellow stuff, and I want to make more happy mellow stuff.
Yeah,
So like I have a playlist called Chill Christian Hip Hop, and I'm trying to fill it with nothing but like mostly feel good mellow stuff. So like it's not really turn up. It's like kind of like chill, something you can listen to in the background, like
Mm.
happier.
I feel that. I feel that for real. Cause like I'm in that spectrum too. Like, well, I'm in that spectrum where I make music for people who consider themselves, I guess, quote unquote emo, but like from like a rappier end of it. Um,
Yeah,
and that's kind of the spectrum where I sit at. Like, I'll sing melodies and it might sound a little juice whirly, maybe, but then I'll start rapping, and that, you know how Juice World kind of had both of those sides. Like,
yeah,
um, that's the kind of anomaly where I fit. I feel like you can sing something inherently emotional and kind of poppy, but and because of my background, like the whole pop punk stuff, but I can like spit 16 over top of it too. And I'm in no way, shape, or form as good of a rapper as Juice World was, but like I think that plays into what you listen to too,
for
because
sure.
I listen to so much more rap now, and I think that's why I got better. Like, I don't know, it's just influenced. Honestly, I've been listening to a lot of what's been coming out lately, because even those people from Reach, bro. Like, I have nothing against the people from Reach, by the way. If any of them hear this, Ace, Ace.
I don't either. Just throwing that out there. I just didn't want to be like, I only listen to the mainstream stuff. It's
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? It's like when
Yeah,
people. It's like when we ask people what their favorite anime is, and the first thing they say is Dragon Ball Z. It's like it just makes me think like you don't really watch. You're not really deeper into it. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just
yeah,
like if your top five artists are all Reach artists, it's just like it just makes me feel like you're neglecting the genre as a whole.
like,
You
yeah.
know?
hmm,
How deep did you really go? Kind of
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like, yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. But the thing is that I feel like Lecrae and those dudes are like smart enough people to let the new gen kind of take hold of everything, and I think that's why
for
Hovey has
sure.
had such an impact, and 1K Few had a big impact on me. Like, he was one of those artists that I found on SoundCloud when I was starting to like get serious about this. Um, and it's same with What Up RG. Um, so
Man,
it for him to for them to reach to like be all like, okay, well, we had this era, we had this like backpack era, and we had this like uh Jesus music era of 116. What does it look like now? And the people that are there now, I feel better about showing somebody the people on the roster now
hmm,
than I did like back then.
mm,
Because not to say that that music was bad, but it's just kind of like I feel like there's more connectability
absolutely.
with the newer artists. Like, I'm a big Andy Mineo fan. Like, I'll show
same.
people Andy Mineo all the time. But like um but to somebody even, I'd say probably about like in their like late teens, early 20s or whatever, Andy might not be that guy to them. John Keith
Yeah,
might be that guy to them. And I'll show him Andy Tribe, or something along those lines, like Christopher Sincere,
hmm,
um, my
That
dude
dude's
K.
dope.
Yeah, no, there's so many, like, when you run a playlist, you get to know a lot of these. But like, there's people that I otherwise wouldn't have heard of if I didn't do the playlist. But there's dope people out there, man. There's this girl named Jess, or GES, and she kind of does a soulful indie pop thing.
hmm,
Okay,
And
yes, more women.
I was like, dude,
absolutely.
I'm rocking with this, bro. Like, all these people are coming out of nowhere. I'm just like, I can't keep up. Sometimes it's like it's not Christian hip hop isn't just Christian hip hop anymore. We've branched out and
Yeah.
we have all these different sects, like you were saying, like the different subgenres and everything. Like
Yeah.
we're starting to have all these different types of things inside of the umbrella that is Christian hip hop or alternative music.
I think that's
Yeah.
what we've been needing too. It's like
Oh,
that's what's Christian hip hop's been needing.
Mhm.
absolutely.
It's the next evolution.
It's about time for real. Because I remember back in the day, I didn't want to listen to a lot of it because it all really did sound the same.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Same. Cool. So, all right. I won't keep you guys much longer. But before we wrap up, I do want to just ask you guys, one, how can all the listeners find you, support you, listen to your
Plug
music and
time.
all that stuff? Absolutely, plug time. And then B, just how us non-artists, like as we look to institutionalize, can be a good support system for you guys.
So I'll try to keep it short and simple because I get this question a lot. Like even when I perform, like people ask what's the best way to support. I'll say unequivocally the top best ways to support are either you buy the music, whether that's iTunes, Bandcamp, or buy merch, or if money's tight and you can't do those things, understand that streaming is very helpful, but you have to do it kind of right. So like if you're going to stream our music, put it in a playlist, put it in your personal playlist. Even people, like if you don't curate playlists, you'll find that just I don't know how Spotify does it, but somehow people find your playlist and they just follow it. Like my Nerdcore playlist has 19 followers. I didn't promote it. Like I didn't promote it like, hey, come follow this. It's just my personal playlist of like artists I was finding I like. And you might have a playlist sitting that has like 20, 30 people on it, and they're listening to songs that you put in there. So if you're listening to our music, put it in a playlist. The more playlists that it's on, the more the algorithm gets fed, the more people that find it. Um, but yeah, outside of buying directly, playlist it, put it on playlist, whatever streaming service you use, uh, playlist.
Got you.
I agree. I'll back that up and say, yes, buy the merch, support Bandcamp wise. For me, you can find me on pretty much everything if you just type in QEW or search that up. There is another Q, and he is very, very, very trapped. And I've talked to him before, and he's a sweet guy, but like he is not me. There was a while where like people were getting him mistake for me, and you're like, that's not Christian. Why'd you say that? I was like, that's not me. That is not
Wrong
me.
cue, fam.
It's a wrong cue. But on social media, most of it is QEW official or QEW_official. Follow Respect the Box. You're talking about playlists. I have everybody from CHH to Christian metal to Christian indie
All
to
that.
pop. All that stuff is on Respect the Bops now. It started out as a CHH playlist, but now it's expanded. So you can find just about anything that you like over there. You can make or you can make like suggestions, and I'll definitely hear everybody out. But yep, that's how you can find me, QEW on everything, and something with my face will pop up, and you'll be all like, "I regret this decision." I regret this immediately. So
You can find me, Chris TyK, pretty easy.
If you're fans of JID and Coheed and Cambria, then you'll like me.
I rock with Jid. I don't have an artist comparison, unfortunately. I kind of wish I did. I still don't have one, at least not for myself. I've never been given one. Well, actually, I was given one once in a comment. I don't think it's accurate. Someone said I sounded like Snoop Dogg, and I was like, "There's no way you think that." I was like, "Yeah, that's what I said."
I've been listening. I can hear the similarity. I'm just playing.
No, I was like, "There's no way." There ain't no way. But yeah, so come find me. Tell me who I sound like. Maybe we can figure it out together. Chris TyK. I am the Young King. It's my handle on everything. I don't think there's any other Chris TyK, so that's helpful. There's a lot of other Chris's, but I'm the only one with TyK at the end. So
I found you real easy. I was like, oh, hey, there you go. Look him up. Look him up.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, yeah, I appreciate y'all, fellas. And thank you to everyone who's tuned in and listened to this episode. Again, this is the Glory and the Beat podcast with Chris TyK and Qew. And we will hopefully, be back with some more content soon.
Jesus loves you.
Yes, sir.
Remember that.
Yes, always. God always.
Yes,
Oh, is that the t-shirt?
yes, sir.
Yeah. God always. Shout out, Michael B.
All right, y'all. We out.
Later.